Yeah, she's just chucked things at you. What were they again? What was
So there's a bag of this, which is some kind of white chocolate solid thing.
it looks like a biscuit or a cookie or something.
They're not. They're solid white chocolate. So
Oh,
those are rather weighty, and I
wait.
don't like them anyway.
Yeah, they don't look
At
very
some point,
appetizing.
at some point in this podcast, that I've just realised you're recording again because you snuck up on me. I am just going to get up and go and grab my burger. And then the other thing was these, which are hard candies. Why?
What are they, like citrus or something? Or
Yeah, I mean, let me interrupt this podcast for while I chew on, suck on a sweet, like a fish.
exactly. Well, welcome to Better Luck Next Week. We're back again,
Going on.
as always. Beginning recording in the middle of a story.
Yeah,
'Cause
Jared
what else
doesn't
is
tell
new?
me.
I never
I'm
did.
still expecting him to have an afternoon off, and then just be like, there'll be lower thirds and like an intro song and.
Yeah, we'll get there eventually. I just finished the roster reveal for the Burlington Barracudas, so that's all up now. So
Cool.
I
Go Barracudas.
have more time, so to speak. And we have to give a shout out. She probably won't listen to this for a while if she gets out of hospital, but my Nana's in hospital right now. So we're just praying for her to get better, and I'm going to go see her once this is done.
Give her my love.
So I will. And we have to start with some pretty good news from yesterday. The brand Secret Deodorant pledged $1 million to.
We don't have in the UK. I just want that noted.
You don't have Secret in the UK?
No. In the UK, you can have Lynx.
I mean, it might be Lynx. Sure. It might be under a different name.
Yeah. Okay.
Because Axe is something different in the UK.
Axe is Lynx in the UK.
Yeah. So Secret might be something different in the UK as well.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. But regardless, they've pledged $1 million to the Professional Women's Hockey Players Association, PWHPA. I'm so used to saying the acronym that I had to think for a minute what it was. But so this means that so they had, for those that don't know, which kind of includes Gavin, they had this is all the best players in women's hockey who are advocating for a sustainable professional league. And so this is a league that they can live off, right? So, we're looking at...
Yeah, it's enough money for it to be...
Yeah.
Doable.
You're looking at a minimum salary of $30,000, right? So you can live and play hockey.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? And I think $30,000 is like the bare minimum base level, which I would even fight for a bit more than that. But so last year they formed and they had these kind of tournament stops throughout North America, and I got to be a part of one in Toronto in January. I did play-by-play for it, and so this donation now, or this sponsorship now, kind of solidifies what they'll be able to do in January.
I think as well, it gives money makes money at the end of the day, and I think the problem is that when you don't have the money to put into the production value, you then don't look that appetizing for things like TV deals and stuff like that. So hopefully the injection of this money will allow them to increase, the presence and kind of the marketplace, and maybe then we'll start to get some bigger fish starting to bite a little bit, to start making...
Well, exactly, right? Like, I had a Twitter argument with some old man about why women's hockey shouldn't be on television, and it was all money this and ratings that, and I'm like, I'm sorry, if you invest in it,
yeah, I
it
always
will
struggle
attract
when
viewers.
yeah, I always struggle when people turn around and say, "Oh, well, people won't watch it." Da da da. I was like, well, we live in a world now where people will go and find the thing that they want to watch, and it's a very big thing in the UK at the moment. A lot of the so your normal everyday kind of TV shows are struggling in the UK because
In general,
in general, our generation, I'm not going to sit and watch a TV show I have no interest in because there's a TV show after it that I like. I'm not going to sit and watch anything I don't like. If I want it, I can either find it on one of the streaming services I watch, or I have a laptop with the internet. I can find it. Now, if my interest was women's hockey, which I'm sure for quite a lot of people it is, you're going to find it somewhere and you're going to watch it. So people that turn around and go, "Oh, well, no one will ever watch it." Well,
you
the
might
same
not
people
watch
that
it. Yes,
you might not watch it,
yeah.
but a lot of people, other people will. So, I mean, I think it's definitely worth investing the money. I hope that they do the right thing with it. I hope that this goes to the right places, and I hope that this this company, Secret Deodorant, investing £1 million. I hope this is the start of a lot more. Now, is this a sponsorship deal or is it a donation?
I believe it's a sponsorship deal. So Secret actually sponsored the tour that I was a part of. That was the Secret Deodorant Stop on the Dream Gap tour, it's called, right?
Yeah.
And so I think they're kind of they're upping their ante in the sponsorship realm of the PWHPA, right? So now, based on kind of how things were structured last year, I'm thinking that a portion, I don't know how much, but probably a portion, probably a large-ish portion of this money is going to go to paying the players for being a part of this.
Yeah.
And then the rest of it is probably going to go to the production value. I mean, last year, the particular Secret Deodorant stop was on YouTube and the CBC's streaming service. So wouldn't it be great now for the CBC to put it on television?
Yeah.
Right.
Make that next step,
Yeah, and they've already kind of done that with the Canadian Premier League, the Canadian Elite Basketball League, and I think that's a good next step. Would be for CBC to take the feed that they already have and just throw it up on TV.
It's quite interesting as well now, the kind of the move that is starting to come from a lot in British sports now, where it used to be that, unfortunately, and this isn't me saying this is what happened, the men's sports used to get a bit more money. The British government and the British sporting agencies are now leveling that playing field. It's now based more on a success kind of way. So when the England football team go out and do absolutely terribly, don't get much money.
Regular occurrence.
Yeah, we invented the game and we're terrible at it. So they didn't actually get that. They didn't get that much money. But our women's team, who did really well, doing really well. And the other thing as well, and something that I kind of almost see is, so for every major men's football team, you have Arsenal, you have Arsenal ladies, you have Tottenham ladies. Now, I don't know how much you know about how much football costs over in the UK, Jared, but to go and watch a game at Arsenal, not an important game, just a regular season game, either you have to have what's called a season ticket, which will cost you the best part of £3,500, or you can wait until someone with a season ticket says, "I don't want my seat," and then you might be able to get a seat, at which point they're probably about £120.
I remember doing that because I was trying to find, I was trying to go to a game at Arsenal, actually. I was over there in England, and I literally couldn't get a ticket.
No, it's not like.
And if I tried, like, there were tickets available, and they'd be like £250, and I'm like, not a chance.
Yeah. So a lot of people now have started to go to the girls' version of Arsenal instead of the men's, because the tickets are about £20, which is reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
They still kind of fill up the stadium, and all. Una memento, por favor. This is my burger. I want you to leave this in the podcast.
Yes. I get what he's saying, though, and it's interesting because you could even do like a package deal with stuff like that if you had them on the same day, right? You do play the women's game and then the men's game, and you could spend a whole afternoon at the field if you wanted to, right? And if you made both tickets, or if you made one ticket for both games an affordable price, people are going to go and spend the whole afternoon and probably buy food and drinks and, well, absolutely buy drinks. I mean, I've seen multiple football games from afar in that sense. But and it's just very interesting. I think I'm not really sure what else to say. Difficult to have a conversation with yourself, even though I've done that many times before. Not a huge fan of doing that. He's back.
I'm not going to eat my burger on the podcast. I'll refrain from doing that, at least.
No? Okay.
No one wants to see me eating. Yeah.
I was basically just saying that you could do a package deal where, one ticket costs, let's say £80 or £100, and you get to go for the whole afternoon. The ladies play at like 2, and then the boys play at like 6 or whatever. And you could, because people will go and they'll do that and they'll spend tons of money on food and drink. And they'll be absolutely shattered by the men's game. So it'll be rowdy as heck.
Yeah.
And
there is nothing better than a good old, one of my favourite things to do is going to watch rugby at Twickenham, because it doesn't matter what team's playing. If England are playing, if the Saracens are playing, if the watch Saracens, Harlequins, England, Ireland, it is just brilliant. Great watching sport live. I miss it. Should we move on to Formula One, or have you got more that we want to say?
I just wanted to, we could wrap that up by saying that, this is a stepping stone to continuing the fight for, equity, right?
Yeah.
Because I think most people know right now that it's unrealistic to say, oh, Hillary Knight needs to make $13 million tomorrow, right? Like that's just not going to happen right away, right? But the equity of the situation is that men can make a living while playing professional sport and women can't.
Yeah, and that's the thing that needs to change.
Exactly. And once we're there, then we can start looking at the idea of an equal wage.
Yeah, it's a financial thing as well, because it wouldn't be fair for, let's say, for example, the Toronto Maple Leafs had a male and a female team at the same level. You had an NHL male and then an NHL female. And, everyone turns up to watch the men's team on a Saturday night, and then half the stadium's filled on a Sunday night when the girls play. It wouldn't be fair for them to then get the same amount of money because they're not attracting the same crowd. So, until everything's at the same level, you can't really, they should earn a living wage, but it has to balance, and they have to develop the same way that, men's professional sports has a little bit. But yes.
And I think one day we can get there.
Yeah.
Definitely. We just have to get we just have to get out of this mentality of, oh well, it's not worth it because it's another point of this argument, and then we'll wrap it up, is that, oh well, it's lower quality hockey, or it's, you know, it's not as good as the men's, so why would I watch? And it's like, well, I mean, it's not, first of all, it's just different.
Yeah, it's
You know, like
different.
the rules are a little bit different. That's it.
Yeah.
Hockey is hockey, and it's the highest level
Yeah. And
of hockey.
the thing you'll find is that once more money starts to come into the sport, the skill level will go up.
Yeah, it'll continue to increase. That's the only way it can go.
Yeah, because
right?
at the moment you haven't got people that can dedicate their entire life to hockey.
Right. The
So
only people that can are the ones that are carded, right? The ones that are
Yeah.
on the national team,
Yeah.
right? So the best of the best can continue to be the best of the best, but the rest aren't being developed as much as they could, because they have to also then be a police officer or a nurse, or, you know, on
It's like,
top
hey,
of trying to play hockey.
let me do this 9 to 5 job and then go home and do a 4-hour practice. Like, it's just not going to happen. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you know, there's one woman, Caroline Prevost, who she is she's a CrossFit bodybuilder, so she's jacked.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And she also teaches and plays hockey. So she literally has 16-hour days.
Yeah.
Because
I can just about manage a podcast after a day's work.
Yeah.
Even that's a stretch sometimes. So to then do physical exercise is just fuck off.
So yes, so this is very good, and we'll carry on now with the F1.
Yes.
But I really wanted to highlight that because, of course, it's a big part of my life and as well.
Yeah. So
But
I think
Formula One, yes, we've had practice today.
Yeah.
And
But well, for some people.
Yeah, for some people, because of course, I mean, I think Lance Stroll needs practice not crashing into people.
Yeah, he does. Well, we've kind of led into it, so let's talk about that now. I can see two. I've only recently watched it. I can see two elements of this. One, it is practice. So I can't see a reason why Max Verstappen is trying to stick it up the inside. Because or if he wanted to do a fast lap and he wanted to give himself some distance to Lance Stroll, he didn't need to overtake him.
Especially on the inside.
Especially on the inside. All he needed to do was just drop back, wait for 30 seconds for Lance to get further up the road, and then commit to his run. So the thing for me on the side of it being Max's fault, partially in my opinion, is he had no reason to be trying to sling it up the outside. They weren't racing. It's a brand new track, so let's leave everyone to start learning it. And at the end of the day, once he realised that Lance Stroll wasn't going to let him inside, wasn't going to let him buy up the inside, the sensible thing to do would have been for Max to back off. From the point of view of Lance Stroll, now he's learning a new circuit that none of them have been at, so he should be aware. He is aware of who Max Verstappen is as a person. So there is an element of once he saw Max Verstappen trying to get by him, he could have just lifted off and let Max fly past. There was also the element of when Max stuck it up the inside, Lance Stroll was committed to a racing line, but all of these conversations of, Max was a clear overtake, Lance was just in front. They were in practice. So
yeah,
Lance,
I think that's what everything has to come back to, is that this is practice.
In my opinion, none of this should come back on Lance as to, Max was in front of him and overtook and all that kind of stuff. Why are we overtaking in a practice session?
Well, I think it does come back onto Lance because this happens so often in races. Like
Yeah.
it seems like he's always crashing on the outside of a corner with someone.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
and then this now happens again in practice. It's like,
Mm.
why is this even happening in practice? Why is this situation coming up in individual practice?
Yeah. I mean,
So
really, in reality, what both of them needed to do was one of them just needed what this is two young men who have got themselves locked horns, not realised the scenario that they're actually in. And really, what one of them should have done was gone, oh, well, if it's Lance Stroll, oh, well, Max is being an arsehole and trying to go past me. I'm going to back out of this, let him go. And then when the team turn around and go, well, why did you back out? And go, well, Max was being an arsehole. And that'd be the end of the conversation and none of us would have known anything about it.
right.
Or Max could have turned around and gone, Lance Stroll's being an idiot again. He's a
Yeah.
driver that we know has had some problems and, hasn't driven the car since last week. Let's give him some space. But at the end of the day, both of them should have been respectful of each other on the fact that they're both trying to learn a new circuit. And maybe in the second practice session, they shouldn't be sending it up the outside of each other. Yeah, they're both.
We still got another
fault.
practice session.
Yeah,
right.
they're both at fault.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just
like practice 3 is tomorrow morning. So
yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Why? Another why, a bit more interesting, I guess, a bit more for next year implications, is Haas has announced that they are dropping both Kevin Magnussen and Roman Grosjean.
Yeah. Doesn't surprise me.
No, we kind of touched on whether this would happen last week.
It's difficult because they are obviously going to be possibly, one of the teams coming lower end of the Constructors' Champions this year. They're going to get less money, and they've had both of those drivers for 5 years, and neither one of them has kind of ever been massively impressive. Roman Grosjean can be good. He's had some moments. But then he also just has an ability to completely cost the team so much money by writing the car off all the time.
I think Magnussen had some potential and then just kind of pissed it away effectively.
Yeah, but then both of them do that thing that you don't want any driver to do, which is they're on the radio bitching and moaning about the car.
Right.
I think this decision came down. I don't know the ins and outs of this decision, but I think this decision came down to what have we got to gain next year from keeping these two? Because you've shown that the two of them either aren't bringing enough to the table technically to say this is where the car needs to go development-wise. They aren't, they aren't. One's not storming ahead of the other. And really, in reality, because your car's fixed next year, you know that you're not going to be going anywhere massive next year. So you've almost got like a free pass year. If you had, Roman Grosjean and Kevin Magnussen across the table from you going, hey, I want a new contract. It's going to cost you X million a year. And you've got two drivers that want, a reasonable contract in Formula One is £3 million a year at the moment. They both will go, I want £3 million a year. That's £6 million a year of your budget that you've lost. Or you get two new rookies or a Hulkenberg or a Perez or someone like that, someone that's lost their seat and hasn't really got any other option where to go in Formula One, and you get them for peanuts, because if they're a rookie, you can turn around and go, this is how much we're going to pay you. This is your only option of a seat in Formula One. And they'll go, okay. And, you pay them £250,000 a year, which is still massive amounts of money. But you've saved yourself 2.75 million. Or you get Hulkenberg, and Hulkenberg's proved that he can get in a car, he can drive it, and he can score points.
Well, exactly. I mean, here's what I would do. I would either get Perez and Hulkenberg, and just run with it for the year and see what happens, because
Yeah.
it's the same cars. So put better drivers in the same car and see what they can do with it. Or you do a Perez or Hulkenberg. Now, you see, for me to decide whether to do Perez or Hulkenberg, I mean, Hulkenberg's been around longer.
Yeah, but
So,
he also holds the worst record in Formula One.
right. So it's a little bit like, well, who do you think is going to be the better mentor to a rookie? You know, Perez has a better argument because he's not got an awful record, and he's also driven a car consistently for a couple of years. Hulkenberg's been out of it for a year, but has proven that, I mean, what more can you do to prove that you deserve a spot than come in and have more points than 7 other drivers?
Yeah. The problem
in 2 races.
The problem is with both of them, I'd be a little bit more risky with it if it was me, to be honest. So the problem with Hulkenberg is, one, he has the record for the most Formula One race starts without podium. He also has proven that when he was in a car next to Daniel Ricciardo, which now I know that you don't want to always, you know, we're not talking about a Renault, McLaren kind of level team at the moment, but you don't want a guy in your car that has been proven to be slower, definitely, than a certain level of the field. So Hulkenberg has his problems. My main money really is going to be on Perez, because he always brought to that Force India team a lot of money sponsorship-wise from his links in Mexico and all that kind of stuff. He's always been able to bring, I think, 30 million, 40 million pounds to the table because of his links and, you know, him being the only Formula One driver from his country. It means he's got a lot of money behind him. If it was me, I would take a punt at a Callum Ilott, who is currently, I think, 2nd in the Formula 2 Championship, and the Mick Schumacher. Sure. Yeah, and Mick Schumacher, because you're going to have, what do you lose by putting 2 rookies in the car?
Not a whole lot, to be honest.
No, if you get halfway through with the seat, you know, if you get 2-3 races into the season and one of them can't make it around a corner without writing the car off, then you're in the same situation as Grosjean, but you've spotted it earlier and you go, right, off you go, and you give Hulkenberg a call. But you get the name Schumacher in your car, which is going to do great for your PR, because his last name alone is going to bring hundreds of people to your sponsorship tent, because all the people that used to sponsor his dad are going to go, oh, well, I'll give his son a little bit of money as well. And then Callum Ilott is doing really, really well in Formula 2. He's Formula 1 is one of those things where it doesn't come down to, oh, well, you know, this person talks really well, this person talks really well. The reason that, you know, Lando Norris, Alex Albon, and George Russell are in Formula 1 was because when there were 3 seats available, those were the top 3 guys in Formula 2. That's how it works. You do, you know, no one's ever done 10th in Formula 2 and then gone, oh, I'm in Formula 1 now. That's not how it works. You either win it and you get a seat, or you come in the top 3, which is what those lot did. So I would be looking as Haas. I would go, well, who's the top 2 guys in Formula 2? Okay, come and have a go. What do you lose?
Yeah, and, you know, you could do both. You could do 1 and 1.
Yeah.
I think the possibilities are endless for Haas at the moment.
Yeah.
And I'm very interested to see what they do. The other thing that's going to be interesting is what happens this weekend in Portugal, in a circuit that has never really been raced, or at least by these folks.
The last time that we raced
96 the last time?
Oh, who knows? The last time that we raced at a circuit that we didn't know, they did not play well. We had 2 red flags. So I'm definitely watching this one.
And we've had 2 red flags in the practice today.
They just can't behave, can they?
No.
They just need to all have a sit down and go, look, lads, we don't know where we're going. Let's chill out a little bit. Let's not all try and overtake each other into the first corner.
Well, and the most fun part about this one too is that it's so hilly
Yeah.
that you can't see what's on the other side. So I wouldn't be surprised if we had at least one red flag on Sunday morning.
It's not a worn-in circuit either, by the way. Do you know that? So normally what happens with the circuits is they get laid and the fresh stuff they put down is really good, but it's not got much. When they say rubbering in a circuit, effectively it gets a bit of wear on it, and the little rubber that comes off the cars makes that a bit more grippy. Now, normally what's good for the Formula One guys is because they're not always the first people that come to a circuit. There's been like 10 other race series that have come through and put so much rubber down on the circuit that it's great. But the teams were really struggling because they resurfaced the circuit and then no one's driven around it. It's brand new. And all of the drivers are just like, in that first practice session, it was basically like spin, 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 spin. Every single one of them had a spin at one point.
Well, Leclerc spun again today.
Yep.
And then the Stroll and the Verstappen thing, and I wouldn't be shocked if there were others that I didn't see.
Yeah. I think that the thing I watched on an F1 TV basically said that they'd all kind of had moments. Like, no one's been clean out of the gravel trap yet.
So who's going to win this one then?
I don't think it's going to be a Mercedes.
Because Bottas is had the best practice so far.
Bottas being best in practice means nothing. Because what Lewis Hamilton does is he sits there, right? And he goes, first practice, oh, Bottas is faster than me. Okay. Second practice, oh, Bottas is faster than me. Oh, third practice, oh, Bottas is faster than me. And I think what he does is he figures out what Bottas' fastest lap's going to be and then just knows that he can beat it. He knows he can. He doesn't do it straight away in qualifying. He doesn't do it in the first bit. He just waits until the last dash and Lewis just goes, okay, Bottas, live with this. And Bottas has got to be at a point where he's like, what am I doing? Because Mercedes have given him every opportunity. So, I mean, he's currently, 92 points behind Lewis?
Something like that.
In the championship, which means that the only way that Bottas wins the championship right now is if Hamilton decides to not finish 3 races, which he would then have to, Hamilton would basically have to DNF 3 races in a row, which, touch wood, Mercedes aren't looking like they'll do. And then somehow, for the last couple of races of the season, Lewis would have to finish low in the top 10. And even then, you're talking about it coming down to the last round, which I just don't see. It's one of those things that it's like, well, mathematically it could happen. Mathematically, this person could still win. And you're like, yeah, but I mean, mathematically, a fucking rocket ship could fly through that window. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, does it? So, yeah.
So officially it's 71 points in difference. 231 for Lewis and 160 for Bottas.
Still going to munch him, isn't he? The only reason I say maybe not a Mercedes is because one of the reasons they're so good is they have so much information and they know what they're doing on each track. You never see them make mistakes on, they never seem to make a bad tyre call, or, they never know how long the tyres are going to last and stuff like that. They play well when they know the turf. But we saw from that race where they didn't know 100% what they were doing and it was all a bit up in the air, that it kind of mixed things up a little bit, which is why I think that Mercedes they're not as at the seat of the pants as other teams. Like the teams like Red Bull and Renault and McLaren and stuff like that can kind of go, right, let's stick to some old-fashioned principles that we know are going to work, and let's go the right way. Whereas Mercedes are a bit like, well, we don't know what we're doing, and that's where some mistakes start to happen. Yeah.
So I'll give you the top 5 from practice too. I said Bottas was in first, Verstappen second, Norris third, Leclerc fourth, and Sainz fifth.
I'm gonna go Leclerc.
You writing it down? Yeah.
Huh?
You have to write it down.
I'm gonna go Leclerc, Norris, Hamilton.
Interesting.
I've risked it. I've risked it for the chocolate biscuit.
You have, and I think I'm going to risk it a little bit as well, but in a different way.
If you go...
I'm going to go...
Hamilton, Bottas, Verstappen, I'm going to punch you in the head.
No, that's not risking it. Please. It's about as risky as... God, I don't even know. Buying the milk...
Farting over the toilet?
What?
Farting over the toilet. There's no risk in that.
That's that's fair. Anyways,
yeah,
I'm just trying to decide who I want to be in third.
Oh, who do we like?
I mean, I like most of them. You know, okay, so here's mine. All right, I figured it out. Verstappen. Ricardo.
Yeah.
Bottas.
Okay. I don't know if that's going to happen.
Well, I mean, I feel like it has just as much of the likelihood as yours happening.
Admittedly, I've got a Ferrari on the podium, which I think is a bit risky. Charles Leclerc is very talented, but you know.
Yeah, I do think you've overreached a little bit.
If you don't push yourself, it's not going to happen.
Right. Do you have your notes from last week's NFL?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so let's go through that now.
Mm-hmm.
Because there were I think there were some upsets.
Definitely some upsets.
And
there were some upsets, and there were some games that I watched and was like,
"What's going on?" Yeah.
Yeah.
And then this weekend, there's some very, very good games. So the Texans lost in overtime because NFL overtime is stupid.
Yeah.
42-36.
To be honest, that to me, on the scoreboard, it's not a win for the Texans, but I would say that you've just held one of the last undefeated teams very close. You even with Derrick Henry destroying defenses, which is just what he seems to do. It doesn't matter how good you are. He's going through you. They still managed to stay within, they still held them. They didn't run away with it. Next one.
Somebody else didn't run away with it was the Ravens. I mean,
Ravens are the Ravens have got problems. They're not.
I guess. I mean, or is Philadelphia figuring it out?
Well, no, let's not be silly.
Okay. They don't even have the stats. I mean, Baltimore started the game very well and then just folded in the fourth quarter.
I think the thing is with Baltimore are one of those teams now that you didn't used to be, where you know that offense can score. You know that they're going to score. You know that they're going to be able to put points up. But I think there's issues in that defensive side of the ball. They're not that aggressive on defense. They're not stopping a lot. I think they're a defense that, given the right kind of group, someone can persecute. Next one was the Falcons beat the Vikings, which is just Okay, fair enough. That happened.
I guess, but it wasn't even close.
No,
I thought the Vikings were going to put up a fight and maybe pull something out, but my God,
no.
it's
I think the
embarrassing in
Vikings
Minnesota
at the end
now.
of I think the Vikings at the end of this year are going to realize what the are we paying Kirk Cousins for? Because
To tank,
he's fucking awful.
he's driving the tank.
He's not worth the money you're paying him.
Absolutely not.
You could get someone for a lot less. This next game now.
Well, here come all of the
38-7.
Baker Mayfield haters again.
Yeah, this wasn't Baker's fault. I'm sorry. If you turn
No.
around and go, "Oh, Baker Mayfield's terrible," he only dropped back to pass, I think, best part of 18 times. No, sorry, not 18 times. Something like 20-something times. That Steelers defense is a buzzsaw. It just is. The thing is that you can't have a go at a QB when they take away the things that he was good at. No one was getting open, really. They couldn't get a run game going at all. So, I mean, if I look at this from a purely, thought process, okay, Baker Mayfield didn't have the best game. He threw 2 interceptions and could not get that offense going. That's not 100% his fault because, one, he was suffering injured ribs, and Stephen Sikansky has turned around and said, I pulled him out because he was just getting hurt. I couldn't protect him. There is only so much a quarterback can do when every single time he drops back to pass to assess the field, he's got guys coming at him. Evidently, his first option wasn't immediately open because he wasn't dropping the ball to Odell. I think, Odell and Jarvis did not get much in the way of balls. I didn't watch this game and go, there was a great amount of offense moving the ball. No, they couldn't get the run going. I think they pressured him of the 20-something times he dropped back to pass. Of the 18 times they pressured him, which was over 50% of his attempts, he had someone coming for him. I think he ended up with 6 QB hits and 4 sacks. Just what do you want him to do with that?
Well, and then on the other side of the ball, the defense was absolutely non-existent.
Yeah. Just letting them go with it. I mean, I think the Browns are a team that could potentially have beaten the Steelers, but not like this.
Well, I think we both picked the Browns, didn't we?
Yeah. The one thing I want to point out as well, when people turn around and go, "Oh, the Browns are a terrible football team," da 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 da. This defense at the start of the year held Saquon Barkley to 6 yards.
Yeah, they had an off night or afternoon.
Yeah. So if you're holding the Browns to 46 yards, that's got to show what this run defense can do if Saquon can only get 6. Mm-hmm. So the Steelers are a very good football team. We know that. I think some things fell apart with the Browns not being able to play the game the way they wanted. I'm not looking at this and going, oh, well, let's throw Baker Mayfield, let's start again. In 3 years, he's turned you from a team that was 0-16 to a team that everyone actually considered being able to beat the Steelers.
Well, maybe not everyone. I think the Browns are always going to have their detractors, but yeah, I mean, he's turned the team around from a joke to an actually competitive team.
I think at the end of this year, if you've got a winning record as the Browns, which will be the first time you've had that in 10 years, someone owes Baker Mayfield a fucking plaque. Because
a very nice steak.
Yeah. Because that would be impressive for the Browns. You'll currently have the same record as quite a lot of really good teams. You have the same record as Patrick Mahomes' Chiefs.
Who have looked not quite themselves.
No. Anyway, so...
We'll get to that a bit later. Now, this game, I mean, I don't know who really cared who won, but the Bungles bungled it.
Yeah, the Bungles bungled it, which I am almost getting to a point where I'm like, maybe you should take Joe Burrow out because it's not that he's not playing well because he put up 27 points. the defense is like a colander. You just
Oh yeah.
stuff just finds holes, and you just literally you watch the offense on the sideline being like, okay, right, we're gonna go out and score again.
And Philip Rivers was like not playing well either because it's Philip Rivers.
He's
Anyway,
terrible, useless. Even the Colts are starting to be like, maybe we should get rid of him.
I lucked out with this one. This was a
Yeah,
big
I
one.
didn't.
34-16 for the Lions over the Jaguars.
Fair enough.
I don't think there's anything else to say about that one. And then Big Dick Nick at it again with the Bears.
He's the only guy to be 2-0 against Tom Brady, which I think is one of those things that we don't agree that he, when they give him a fucking £90 million a year contract, no. But I think being able to turn around and going, I'm 2-0 against Tom Brady, give that man a parking space. Maybe not a close parking space, but a parking space. Go.
Now,
get a parking space.
This game is pretty embarrassing for the Washingtons.
It was more embarrassing. I'm just making sure that actually happened. No, sorry. I'm thinking about what happened this week. I mean, they tried.
The Giants were up 10-0 after the first quarter. They didn't try.
I think that this is a benefit for the Giants as a team, not losing Saquon, but I think this is them going, oh shit, if Saquon gets injured, we need something else on the offensive side of the football. Oh, let's draft something this year. And if they draft some tight ends, some wide receivers, maybe another running back, build that defense a little bit, give it edge, you might start to be back to a decent team.
Also, a side note for the Washingtons, they're going to be the W for the foreseeable future because Dan Snyder has decided that they are nowhere near choosing a name for next season.
Why does it take so long to choose a name?
I really don't know.
Evidently, you just get apparently. So, have you ever heard of a magazine called Evo magazine?
No.
So second, it's up there. So Top Gear, these things like Top Gear. So Top Gear originally started as a magazine. Right. Autocar was a magazine. And Evo was a magazine. Do you know what they did when they had to name it? They got all the people involved round a table and they just locked the door and then it took them 2 hours. And they just basically, everyone put in a load of names. They wrote them on a whiteboard. And they all went through and got rid of the ones they didn't like until they had 5. And then they all voted on those 5, and Evo came out on top. There you go, there's a name.
Well, I mean, you've got a big fan base. Pick a bunch of names, throw them up on Twitter and go, right, which one do you like the best, fans?
Yeah.
It'll take a week.
Yeah. This one hurts.
Yeah. Yeah. Broncos beat the Patriots 18-12.
I think that this whole Tom Brady, Bill Belichick split, I think Bill is having some squeaky bum moments at the moment.
Yeah.
Because I don't think he realised, 1, how talented the rest of the league was, and 2, what kind of state of disrepair the Patriots are in. Because you can't put the world on Julian Edelman's back.
Or Cam Newton's, apparently.
No.
Dolphins. And Jets. God, what a disastrous joke of a franchise the New York Jets are. Oh, my God.
But the Dolphins have actually done it rather well. So they have Ryan Fitzpatrick, which, as I've said, if Fitzmagic makes up on the right side of the bed, he's one of the best out there. Because he just can somehow put points up on teams. It's like he goes, oh, what? I need to go throw footballs? Okay, cool. Dum, 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 dum. There you are. Touchdowns. And they're now in a situation where they've got Tua, who is a very talented quarterback, and they can put him in when they want. And when they don't want to put Tua in, they go, actually, do you know what? We don't want you playing this game. They can pull him out.
Well, and just to hit that note, Tua has been named the starting quarterback, and Fitzpatrick seems to be somewhat upset about it. I saw the quote. He was like, "Oh, it's basically like being fired and then being on a bunch of Zoom call meetings with the guy who fired you and locked in a room with your replacement for 4 hours." And I was like,
frankly, he just needs to get over it because I don't know
yeah.
what
And I was like,
to go to.
quit your whining.
Yeah. Quit your whining and just make sure you're employed next year.
Yeah, you're a 1B quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah. Unless there's a team that drastically needs a quarterback next year, you're not going to be on the list.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Ryan Fitzpatrick is not a starting quarterback. He is a tandem quarterback. And what, get over it.
He's a plaster.
Right. Tua is the guy that they're trying to mold into the starting quarterback for the Dolphins, are they not?
Doesn't mean you're never going to play again, Ryan.
Yeah.
Just
get over yourself and your big bearded ego.
Dust yourself off, continue on with your life.
Yeah.
Buccaneers beat the Packers, which was one, the Buccaneers defense kind of figuring it out, and two, what the hell happened with the Packers?
And Aaron Rodgers specifically. Like, this was not this was Tom Brady picking apart a team again, classic Tom Brady, but also just like what Aaron Rodgers forgot to show up, I guess, because that was it. 10 points in the first quarter. And then 28 points in the second quarter for the Buccaneers.
Yeah. I think the thing was that the Buccaneers went into this with a game plan, which was, I think the Buccaneers thought this was going to become a shootout.
Yeah.
So they put up.
The game was over at the 12-minute mark of the second quarter.
Yeah. So this became okay, well, they put 38 points up on us. Right. What do we do?
Nothing.
Apparently. Again, another one just to point out because it makes me laugh. The Buccaneers put 38 points up on the Packers, and no one's saying get rid of Aaron Rodgers. No one's pulling him apart. Same kind of point differential that the Browns had. Just want it out there because I don't really agree with all this bashing. 49ers beat the Rams. Okay.
And I picked the Rams for some reason.
Because you're an idiot.
Well, I guess I was thinking that Jimmy Garoppolo had something. It was having trouble in paradise or something.
Yeah, admittedly, speaking of idiots, I picked the Bills next, which I thought was quite smart because the Bills are kind of doing really well this year. But they played against Patrick Mahomes, and I think I've realized something in life is to never bet against Patrick Mahomes because he will just punish you.
Yeah, it's a pretty safe bet to go with the Mahomes. And then the Cardinals beat the Cowboys fairly handily.
I mean, the Cowboys are without their starting QB. That was kind of going to happen.
Well, and the Cowboys, but even if Dak Prescott was healthy, I mean, how much of a help would he have been in this game, really?
Yeah.
The Cowboys have been non-existent. And then the Eagles beat the Giants. We didn't even pick a winner for this one because we didn't realize that it was happening because the NFL schedule is all screwy.
Yeah.
Who cares anyways? The Eagles won by 1 point against the Giants. Like, all these crap teams are beating each other by 1 point, and it's like, who gives a damn?
Who cares? Right, should we go into straight away?
Well, Saints. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've only got 6 points this week.
I got 8.
9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 6 of 14. That's less than 50%, folks.
You're meant to be the professional.
Yeah, that doesn't mean I'm going to pick the winners all the time.
Yeah, but you should be at least better than a 50% punt rate.
Oh, well, hey, 2 weeks ago, I was 10 for 13. Thank you very much.
You get so tetchy. Tetchy. Saints Panthers.
Saints.
You know how much I hate Drew Brees, but I can't.
Yeah, I don't know why you hate him so much. Like, he's not. He's fine. Like, he's a very good quarterback. He's just.
No, he's not. It comes back to this whole argument that we've always had about what is worth more. Because Drew Brees, I will admit, Drew Brees during the regular season is really good.
He has all the numbers to back it up, but the postseason doesn't work out for him. He's still a very good quarterback, but he's never going to be as good as someone like Tom Brady or, yeah.
Is he though? Is he really good? If he can't do it in the postseason?
Yes, you can't discount the regular season numbers, though, Gav.
I can.
I mean, if we're gonna say that, then it's be like saying, "Oh well, is Wayne Gretzky that great because he only won, he only won 2 Stanley Cups instead of 8?"
That's partially down to team, but it has shown that.
Oh, Drew Brees is down to team too.
I just don't like him.
Yeah, well, maybe you should throw your biases out the window a bit. Right, Bills, Jets.
Bring my biases to this show. Bills.
Yeah. Browns, Bengals.
Sorry, are we not going to talk about the fact that Bills, Jets may be the first triple-figure NFL score?
Just 100-2. They got a free safety somehow.
Browns,
Bengals, yeah. Cowboys, Washingtons. Who cares? Cowboys, really?
The Washington team just proved they couldn't beat the bloody. It's going to come to me. That they couldn't beat the Giants without, like, we've discussed at length.
By 1 point.
Yeah.
And this is a Cowboys team that has no direction whatsoever anymore.
It'll be fine. Be right.
At least Washington has Alex Smith.
I've made my pick.
Okay.
Texans, Packers. Oh. I'm going to go Texans.
That's fair. I'm going to go Packers to please my mum and be opposite you.
Caroline.
But this game could go either way, honestly.
Yeah, very easy. Falcons, Lions. I mean, who cares? But
yeah.
Lions.
I mean, the Falcons won last week, so I think I'll go with them.
This one I'm looking forward to, the Titans against the Steelers.
Ooh, because yes, this is another very good game.
The number 1 ranked running offense going into last week was the Browns, second only to the Titans.
And the Steelers shut the Browns down very handily. So
what I think either one thing's going to happen. Either Derrick Henry is going to be like, what the? There's a defense here?
What do I do?
Yeah, I think he's almost going to get confused. Like he's going to run at a defensive line and then be like,
why are there people here? What is that? Get out of the way.
Normally I'm over there.
Yeah. Move, please.
Bonk. Or Derrick Henry is going to do Derrick Henry things to a defense, and then both of those teams are undefeated at the moment, and that will be a very interesting game because someone's going to come out of there with a loss. It's just going to happen.
I do think this could be a bit of a shootout. I think this has almost more of potential to be the shootout that we were expecting the Packers-Bucks to be.
Yeah. I have gone Titans.
Okay, I'll go Steelers then.
You don't seem confident in that pick.
I mean, I don't like the Steelers, so I don't
Yeah.
I don't really care. Bucks for me.
Yeah,
The
I've gone Bucks
Raiders,
as well because I just distaste the Raiders. Um,
Chiefs,
I love that we don't even say the team they're playing.
the Broncos. Who gives a crap? Chargers over the Jags for me as
Do you
well.
think in this game against the Broncos that Patrick Mahomes is actually going to face a more difficult defense in his practice during the week than he is going to in the game?
I think so. I think it's gonna be the opposite of what we were saying the Titans Steelers game is gonna be. Patrick Mahomes is gonna snap the football and go, "Wow, look at all of these options."
I can show you the world.
Which one do I go for? Oh. The
Wonder
Chargers
if I
over
can
the
throw it through
Jags.
the uprights and get a point.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay,
so
Patriots 49ers.
this next one is going to be Jimmy Garoppolo bullying Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
Bill traded Jimmy away and went, okay, well, we can't have you as a starter. Off you go. And has now come in to a weakened Patriots with the best will in the world. And I think he's going to punish them.
I wouldn't be surprised because it's a bit like, oh, well, remember that time that you had me and wouldn't it be great if you had me now?
Oh, if we had Jimmy G now, we'd be on a winner. So this is the only time I'm going to go against my own team because I just don't think that there is the. I look at all the other. I always look talent-wise, and we just don't have a talented football team at the moment. We just
It's
don't.
okay. It happens.
Um,
The next game is another massive game this weekend. Seahawks Cardinals.
Hawks.
Great matchup though.
Yeah. This is going to be one of the ones where they get tested, and I think that Russell Wilson and that amazing offense, the defense is starting to come as well, is going to prove themselves.
You know, I don't want to go against the Seahawks, but I will to be opposite.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go Cardinals, and I think they do have the potential to win this game. And I've just written Cardi now.
Yeah. And then I've gone for the Bears.
Cardi B.
I
guess.
I also think it's going to be a game of who can throw a football the longest because Russell Wilson has DK Metcalf, who no one seems to have discovered how to stop yet. And the Cardinals have DeAndre Hopkins, who no one has figured out how to stop yet. Maybe those two will like pass each other on the way to the end zone, like, oh,
hey, buddy. Wait,
should we do the Friday
how do you
game
have the ball if I have the ball?
How'd that work? Should we do the Friday game as well? Panthers, Falcons.
Yeah, I mean we've got to do the Bears and Rams first, unfortunately.
Oh, I went Bears. I said that.
Oh yeah.
I've just seen a game.
I want to go Bears too, but I guess I'll go Rams.
I've just seen a game that is going to keep some people up at night.
The Falcons and Panthers?
No. The Titans are playing the Bengals.
Oh. That's going to be rough.
It's going to be a long night, isn't it?
For one team. I guess we have to care about the Falcons and Panthers.
I'm just going to write down Panthers.
Yeah, I don't think the Falcons are going to win 2 games in a row, so I'm going to go Panthers as well.
Sorry.
Woo! What a great time. It's unfortunate that you have such good games to then be off-balanced by such shit games.
Yeah, there's some that let you down, unfortunately. But...
And why is it that the NFL insists on having horrific games on Thursday nights?
I think they try and put the best kind of foot forward, like they want an interesting game on Thursday nights.
Like next week it's their week 9, it's the Packers and 49ers. That's great. But then this, like next Thursday, we've got the Falcons and Panthers. Yesterday, we had the Giants and Eagles.
I think it's one of those things that the NFL brings something out to be like, oh, this is going to be a really good promotional thing. This is going to get really good ratings. And then they have to put a stipulation that the teams can say no or the teams can have preference on it. It's like the games in the UK. If the teams go to the playoffs, they can turn around and go, no, we don't want to go to the UK. Now, the problem with that is that no team wants to elect to have that massive, it's a 12-hour flight there and back. No team wants to do that. So you end up with all the teams that haven't made the playoffs coming over to the UK, which means we get pointless games.
Yeah, you get like
struggle over here, not because it's the whole it's not the NFL. It's quite enjoyable here, but I mean, we got like the Jaguars versus the Dolphins last year, which when they flew over here, both of those teams were already out of the playoffs. Do I really want to go and see two teams that aren't going to make it in the playoffs?
Yeah, and then haven't you had the Bengals and Browns or something? I remember a distinctly orange game.
Yeah, we've had some awful
and that
games.
that was when that was the pre-Baker Mayfield Browns.
Yeah, it was just awful.
It's awful, very, very awful. Right. We've got a game to wrap up things again.
Yeah.
Another little game.
With
some more hockey names
mm-hmm.
for fun. It's just 3 this time, so you might have an easier time getting it.
Now, is there 3?
There's 2 real names and 1 fake name. Okay. So the first name is Lance Pietrangelo. Okay, mm-hmm. Lance Pietrangelo.
Okay.
The second name is Kirby Reichel. Kirby Reichel.
Uh-huh.
And the third name is Wojtek Wolski.
I'm going to go 1 and 3. I'm making a gut pull that there is no way that a professional athlete is called Kirby. Because he wouldn't have made it because he would have been beaten up so much.
Well, Kirby Reichel was a draft pick of the Toronto Maple Leafs, traded to the Montreal Canadiens a little while ago, then traded to Edmonton. I guess he now plays in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
His last North American contract was with the Charlotte Checkers in the American Hockey League. And I was actually wrong. He was drafted by the Columbus Blue Jackets. And then he was traded to the Maple Leafs, I guess. How did they acquire him again?
It's just kind of gone downhill then if he's now playing in Europe.
Traded to Toronto in exchange for Scott Harrington and a conditional 5th-round pick. Oh, well, what a shit trade that was. Great. The Maple Leafs in basically the last 15 years.
Oh, is it annoying when your team is terrible at drafting players? Does that get frustrating?
No, not drafting, trading.
Oh, okay, yeah.
They trade away all their picks and good prospects for mediocre or undervaluable players who are massively overvalued, or sign them to massive contracts that they can't trade.
Great.
Yeah, they haven't done that anymore.
Kind of fixed that now.
We'll say that they haven't done that anymore. Some people still feel that they have, with Mitch Marner making $10.9 million, but regardless, there you go. So you were right that Wojtek Wolski was a name. He is.
I went Russian.
Yes, he is. He's actually of Polish descent.
Okay.
But made a living in Russia, played in the KHL for a little while. A most prominent member of the Colorado Avalanche.
Okay.
Also played with the Florida Panthers and a bunch of other teams that are less relevant. Sorry, Panthers fans, all 6 of you. But
You can't really have a go at the 6 Panthers fans when we have a consecutive average viewing of 15.
yeah, I don't think they're watching. Wojtek Wolski, though, is currently on Battle of the Blades, which started last night. Lots of fun. 2-hour premiere last night. If you missed it, it was pretty good. Lots of good skaters. Jennifer Botterill, Jessica Campbell, and Megan Augusta, the 3 women who are skating, female hockey players. Then you've got Brian Bickle, Wojtek Wolski, as I said, Chris Versteeg, former Toronto Maple Leaf as well, and Akima Liu. Very, very good to have him on.
Again?
And Anthony Stewart. Pardon?
Say it last again.
Akima Liu.
Can you just say it 3 times for me?
Akima Liu. I'm not saying it 3 times. I don't want to fall into some weird twisted trap that you're trying to set for me.
It's just funny name.
He is of African descent.
Okay.
His dad's from Jamaica. They moved here after living in Russia for a while. He was like one of the only black men in Russia in the town that he was living in.
Okay.
Because
Each
Russia.
to their own, I guess. Each to their own.
Cool. But yeah, the fake name was Lance Petrangelo. It was a little bit of a trick one because I actually combined Lance Stroll and Alex Petrangelo,
which is where it became believable because it's 2 actual names. But yeah, we will see how we go. I'm hungry.
Well, and I mean, anything else you want to wrap up the show with, Gav?
I want to eat my burger.
True. Yeah, we have to get going before that gets cold. So we wish better luck next week to all the losers this week, which I wouldn't be surprised if that includes Lance Stroll if he crashes again.
Yeah. Good luck, all of you. I don't know a sign off, and you're doing that thing where you won't press the button, and I just keep talking, and I look really weird. And now it's getting awkward.
This is
and you're
very good.
Press the button.
Fantastic content. Bye.